there's another thing that I noticed, okay, which is usually, okay, don't quote me on that, okay, but it's something that I noticed, but I'm not super sure. But it's something that I noticed, but I'm not super sure, okay. Usually, and this is my opinion, okay, this is just opinion. When some people say, okay, I miss Goki is a stretch, but like, I miss the Infernity days. I like to play with the Infernity. Or I really like to make free Colossus. Or I really like to make something ridiculous that is super not interactive, right? It's usually an indicator of how knowledgeable that person is playing the game, okay? It's usually because it's so weird. It's so weird how if people like you guys know what I mean? Like, you only miss those times because in comparison to a better format, you won more. But you only won more that time. It is because that time was worse in the competitive scene. And being worse in the competitive scene, in competitive scene means that a worse player win more than usual. So, because of that, it usually means that for you, it was better. Because you are worse, right? So, when you say things like that, usually means that you're worse. Because if for the competitive scene, the format is worse, but for you was better, it means you are the worst one, right? So that's usually how that goes. I don't understand. For example. Okay, I will be like, how do I say this? Okay, whatever. Like, Sky Striker Mirrors. I really like Sky Striker Mirrors because I felt how impactful my decisions were, right? And I see many people talking, oh, Sky Striker Mirrors are awful. Usually, people who says that are the ones who plays worse the Sky Striker Mirror because they are losing, and because they are losing more, they think they are better than they are, right? So they think the format is worse because they're losing more, but in reality, it's fine. Because that's the ideal scenario. That's what should be happening. But the problem lies is when people don't evaluate themselves correctly. They don't know how good or worse, bad they are in comparison to other players. People tend to think they are better than they are. Everyone does that. I did that in the past of the time. Maybe I do this right now. I don't know. But people tend to think they are better than they are. So they tend to believe when they lose, it's anything but their fault. Right? So, yeah, that's it. That's a good indicator. Like, I'm not gonna say, yeah, that's what I want to say. I don't know if it was too confusing. But I hope it made sense. It's really difficult to get better in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because blaming yourself for some people is really difficult to do. It's really difficult to do. I have an experience with Pac about this. For example, I even talked this about in one of my videos in the past, where I play against Pac in LCS, and I made a lot of mistake against Triton. He was playing Triton, and like even Bell when he had the field spell, for example. And I could have said that okay, I got unlucky, whatever, right? Well, what I did was I spent the next 8 hours learning Triton. And that's not what everyone does. This is not what everyone does. People just tend to for example, when I do coach sessions, okay? When I do coach sessions, we talk about a lot of things, right? We talk about decks, we talk about life things, about I don't know, like how to approach tournaments and all that. Like depends what the person wants. But I believe that the best way for me to teach other people something, to pass knowledge to other human being, it's watching them play through replays. Why? Because most people, hear me out. Most people don't know what they don't know. They don't know. I noticed that I do coach a lot, right? People don't know what they don't know. So when they play the game and they lose, they can't know. They don't know things. They don't know. So how they're going to improve is really difficult for you to figure out that you did something wrong. Unless you research a lot, like it's possible, but it's really slow. So I like to look at the replays because some people come to replay with me and say, okay, I think this game was like this, and I couldn't do anything. Okay, I couldn't do anything. It was really difficult. It was a therapy. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult too, and it was impossible. And then I watched the game. There was a bunch of things that he could have done differently, and they thought they couldn't do anything because they don't know what the right play is. Because if they knew, they would have done it. And not everyone can figure out things like rewatching their own. Even by rewatching the one game, it's difficult. So that's why I like watching the replays, because by watching the replay, other person like me watching the replays, I can see something that they didn't. And that's usually what happens. So in that sense of trying to get better in Yu-Gi-Oh, this helps a lot, I think. And many of my students, I go like, okay, you need to bring replays because I need to know what you don't know. It's the only way. Because I ask, okay, do you have that is anything that you want to know that you want to improve? And then they bring some subjects, but sometimes they don't know. They don't know something. It's so weird. So how can you teach something that you don't know? It's not even there. You need to see something going wrong.